The Minnesota Vikings have a few needs heading into the 2022 NFL Draft. Cornerback, offensive line, wide receiver, linebacker, etc. But a low-key need for the Vikings is indeed tight end. Even though Irv Smith Jr. is coming back from that meniscus injury, the Vikings did lose Tyler Gronklin to the Jets, fueling the dumbest rivalry in sports history. And I love Irv Smith Jr., but he hasn't ascended yet. He's heading into the final year of his rookie deal, and the new regime, they didn't draft him. So I think that the Vikings could and should be looking to upgrade the tight end position. Maybe not replace Irv, certainly give him a chance in Kevin O'Connell's system this year, but contingency plans. Depth is everything, because you look at the Vikings tight end room. So Gronklin is gone. Herndon, whatever. Stocker's 95 years old. Johnny Munt was signed from the Rams. He's more of a special teamer, backup tight end 3 or 4. Ben Ellefson, the pride of NDSU, is a great blocking tight end. I don't think he'll ever ascend to be tight end 2 or whatever. And then Zach Davidson, the 5th-round pick from last season, the tight end punter from Central Missouri, who can neither tight end nor punt. Who knows? Who knows? He spent his time on the practice squad last season. Who knows what he's going to be in year 2? So the Vikings could and should be looking to upgrade in the draft and take a look at the top 10. The top 10 list of tight ends in this class. Now, there's not going to be a first-round tight end. I think that day 2 as well as early day 3 is where you're going to find some real value in terms of the tight end position. Now, the Vikings, unfortunately, they don't have a 4th-round pick because of the Chris Herndon trade. So there's going to be a dead zone where there's going to be a lot of good tight ends going to 4th round. You can wait till the 5th. I think 6th round, you're going to be really picking through some names. So we'll see. I think the Vikings, if they maneuver potentially or trade down in the 3rd, get a couple of 4ths, I think they could find themselves smack dab in the middle of tight end value town. So at the top, Trey Mcbride, Colorado State. He was probably the most impressive tight end last season. 90 catches, 1,121 yards receiving. Only 1 touchdown because the Colorado State offense was not great. But he was, for several years, the entire Rams offense at Central. Nailed it. Colorado State, whatever. He is a true blue move tight end. I think that he can develop some more of an inline game, but he is a guy that can have in the slot, out wide, etc., and he's just going to be a mismatch. Also a mismatch is Isaiah Likely, coming from Coastal Carolina, a redshirt senior, 6'5", 245, 59 catches, 912 yards receiving, 12 tutties last year with Grayson McCall and the Chanticleers. He can play all positions and just move around, find mismatches. He's not really going to be about that blocking life going forward, but I mean, that's what's so weird is that the tight end position is sort of like the linebacker position, where there's so many different types of players at that position. You can be an inline, you can be basically a glorified large wide receiver that you do move around, and a linebacker, are you an off-ball? Are you an edge? Are you a stand-up guy? I don't know. I mean, they really should come up with subtitles. Well, we do have a Y tight end, then F or Joker or whatever, so maybe. I'm talking in circles. Next up, Jeremy Ruckert. Speaking of traditional tight ends, Jeremy Ruckert is that guy. 6'5", 252. Fantastic blocker. He's really coming along as a receiver, but is certainly raw. Needs a lot of refinement in that regard. But he is just a dude who's going to move people, throw dudes out of the club right away. I mean, Jeremy Ruckert is probably going to go 3rd, 4th round, somewhere in there. But he's going to be a guy that you come in right away, is going to be your blocking tight end. He's going to take care of things down the goal line, and you won't have to worry about that. He's already got NFL size and ability. Greg Dolcich, coming out of UCLA, 6'4", 248. He's another move tight end, 42 catches, 725 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns in 2021. Also had 5 touchdowns in 2020. He's got a great nose in the red zone and can really get things open in the middle of the field. Cade Otten is a guy that I love. So we're really starting to get to my mid to late round crushes here. Otten, Turner, Bellinger, Kohler. So Otten, coming out Washington, redshirt senior, 6'5", 247. I think that he has a chance to be the George Kittle of this draft, where he's a fantastic blocker, was very lost in the very meh Washington offense. I think that he's going to be a much better pro than he was a college player, and he potentially could fall. I mean, there's a couple of ways that he could fall to maybe even the 5th round, and then the Vikings, if the Vikings get him in the 5th, sometime in day 3, I think that would be fantastic value. Cole Turner, Pride of Nevada, 6'6", 240. Medicals checked out. He's good to go there. Great speed and agility, can win one-on-ones. Fantastic hands, just fantastic hands. Because some of these tight ends, more body catchers, just whatever. But I mean, Cole Turner catches like a wide receiver. Like he really does catch away from the body, like I don't know, like a Drake London. Like what separates Cole Turner from Drake London besides I don't know, a couple pounds? That's really about it. I love me some Cole Turner. Daniel Bellinger coming out of San Diego State, senior, 6'4", 252. Great hands, gets after blocking. With San Diego State, of course, you have to run block as a tight end. Just a very, very solid all-around tight end. And he is a guy who could fall through the cracks. Maybe the Vikings get a crack at him in the 5th or 6th round. I think that he would just be a phenomenal pickup. I think that most of these guys like Otten, Turner, Bellinger, Kohler would come in right away as tight end too, and then depending what happens with Irv, do the Vikings extend him? What do they do with him? Potentially could have to turn to tight end 1 next season. Charlie Kohler, Iowa State, redshirt senior, 6'6", 255. Basically a big slot. Does need to add a little bit of strength, which of course is the easiest thing to do in the National Football League. Needs to become more of an inline blocker, but I think he is great over the middle. I think that he could become a mismatch. Maybe they do use him like the Saints used Marcus Colson back in the day, like the Cardinals under BA used Larry Fitzgerald towards the end of his career. Just that big body guy in the slot where he's going to be a problem. He's too big for linebackers. He's too big for safeties. He's too quick for some linebackers. I think that it would just be fantastic. Also, he made Brock Purdy look good. So, I mean, it's fantastic. Last two in our top 10. So Jelani Woods out of Virginia. You just can't ignore the size, man. 6'7", 6'8" if he's announced. 259, just huge. He's very raw as a route runner. He's a converted quarterback. I think he was a QB at Oklahoma State, I want to say, from back in the day. Now, redshirt senior, he's going to be 24. Coming into the league, so that's a little bit older. He does need to show better hands. I think that he's a guy that could definitely fall into the 6th round, but he's really intriguing. Tested fine, and just yeah. Finally, Chigazeem Okonwa coming out of Maryland, senior, 6'2", 242. Now, he's a guy that reminds me a lot of Irv Smith coming out of Alabama. Now, he's certainly not going to go as high as Irv did in the 2nd round, but in terms of solid when the ball is in the air, just move him around a lot. Just a classic joker tight end in the slot, in line, H-back, out wide, at the X, at the Z, etc. Just move him around a lot, and he's really, really interesting. A little bit of Charles Clay in there as well. Maybe his future is as an H-back in the league, but we shall see. But that's it. Let's take a look at the top 10 tight ends in the 2022 NFL Draft. It's not a top end tight end class like it was in some years, but I think that there's going to be a lot of really great guys that bring specific talents to a team, whether it's blocking, whether it's receiving, in the mid rounds, on day 2, and especially into day 3. So maybe the Vikings should hopefully grab one of these guys if the price is right and if the value is there, and eventually they could become the tight end 1 of the Vikings. Because like I said, I'm rooting for Irv, but final year of his rookie deal, and we'll see what happens. But your thoughts are our thoughts. Take a look at the top 10 tight ends in the 2022 NFL Draft. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.